The concept that thoughts are things is one of the most profound and transformative ideas you can come across in life. At first glance, it may sound too simple, even trivial. How could something as intangible as a thought possibly influence the material world? After all, thoughts are not physical objects you can touch or see in the same way you can touch a chair or see a building. But when you truly understand the power of thought, you'll realize that it is the very foundation of everything that exists in the world. Everything, every piece of technology, every building, every work of art, every innovation, and every success story began as a thought in someone's mind. To grasp the magnitude of this idea, we need to look at the fundamental nature of reality. Everything we interact with in the physical world was once a concept or an idea that existed in the mind of someone. When you think about it, almost all of human progress has been based on the belief that the world we see around us is shaped by thoughts, decisions, and intention. This is not some mystical or metaphysical assertion. It's a fact backed by history, science, and human experience. Ideas shape reality. Thoughts lead to actions, and actions, in turn, create tangible outcomes in the world. For centuries, philosophers and thinkers have tried to understand the relationship between thought and action. One of the most powerful statements ever made on this subject comes from the early 20th century, when Earl Nightingale declared, "We become what we think about." This is not just a poetic phrase, but a guiding principle for those who want to understand how success works at its deepest level. You are quite literally the sum of your thoughts. Every decision you make, every action you take, begins with a thought. Your life today is the direct result of the thoughts you've entertained in the past. To explain this further, think about the act of creating anything. And when you want to create something, whether it's a business, a piece of art, or even a relationship, it all begins with a single thought. It all begins with a single thought. Consider the story of any major entrepreneur or inventor, and you'll find a common thread. They had an idea, a thought, that was so compelling it drove them to take action. Steve Jobs didn't wake up one day with a fully realized iPhone in his hand. It began as a thought, a vision of what could be. That thought led him to gather a team, to make countless decisions, to face failures, to persist, and ultimately to create something that has changed the world. Similarly, every technological advancement, every breakthrough in medicine, every revolutionary social change began as a thought. The reason why our thoughts are things is so significant is that thoughts set the foundation for actions. Actions are the manifestation of thoughts. If you think about something long enough and with enough focus, you begin to take actions that will bring that thought into reality. This doesn't mean that you can think about something and in the blink of an eye, it will appear. But what it does mean is that thoughts are like seeds. When you plant them in your mind and nurture them with belief, emotion, and intention, they will eventually sprout into actions that lead to tangible results. To understand how this works, think of a goal or a desire you've had in your life. Perhaps it's something you want to achieve, a career milestone, a financial goal, or a personal growth achievement. In the beginning, this goal was just a thought. Maybe you saw someone else achieve something similar, or maybe you had a vision of what you wanted your life to look like. This vision, this idea, wasn't physical. It existed only in your mind. Yet, as you focused on it and allowed that thought to take root in your consciousness, you began to see opportunities, take actions, and move toward. The more you think about something, the clearer it becomes in your mind. Your thoughts begin to shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your actions. If you persist in thinking about your goal, you'll find yourself more motivated, more focused, and more determined to make it happen. The key here is not just thinking about the goal once and leaving it there, but consistently focusing on it, reaffirming it, and letting it evolve in your mind. This is how thoughts become things. When thoughts become clear enough and powerful enough, they direct your actions, which over time bring about the results you desire. Moreover, the thoughts you have also create the lens through which you view the world. Your thoughts shape your perception of reality. If you are constantly thinking negatively, focusing on the obstacles in your way, your brain will begin to search for more evidence to support those thoughts. Your mind becomes attuned to the negative, to things that reinforce your beliefs about what you can't achieve. On the other hand, if you focus on positive thoughts of possibility of what can be achieved, Your brain will begin to search for solutions, opportunities, and ways to make those thoughts a reality. This is the law of attraction in action, the idea that your thoughts attract circumstances and people that align with your mindset. But there is something even deeper about how thoughts create things. The more intense and passionate the thought, the more powerful the force it exerts over your actions. For example, think about someone who is extremely passionate about a cause, an idea, or a mission. Their thoughts about this cause become so strong, so consuming, that they devote their time, energy, and resources to making it happen. The result? They turn their passionate thoughts into tangible outcomes. It could be a charity, a movement, a company, or any number of incredible things. They started with a thought, but that thought became a driving force in their life. At the same time, it's important to understand that your thoughts also determine the emotional energy you bring to you. If you have positive, empowering, you're likely to feel raised and hopes or motivated. But if your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, or negativity, your actions will be weighed down with hesitation, anxiety, and lack of confidence. Your thoughts shape your emotional state. Your emotional state and your emotional states directly impacts your behavior. Positive thoughts lead to positive actions, while negative thoughts often result in procrastination or inaction. This relationship between thought and action also explains why so many people are stuck in patterns of mediocrity or failure. They think about their dreams, but are unable to take the steps necessary to achieve them because their thoughts are often filled with self-doubt, fear of failure, or a belief that success is unattainable. They think about their goals, but their focus isn't strong enough to move them into action. Without that belief, that focused thought, they don't take the necessary steps to bring their ideas to life. The critical understanding here is that thoughts are far more than fleeting mental images. They are the seeds of creation. They are the seeds of creation. Yeah, the very first step in turning ideas into reality. Every great achievement in human history began as a thought in someone's mind. Whether it's a groundbreaking invention, a world-changing piece of art, or a simple personal goal, it all starts with the power of thought. Your thoughts determine what you believe is possible, and those beliefs drive your action. If you control your thoughts and focus on the positive, the possibilities for your life are endless. But if you allow your mind to be clouded by negativity or doubt, you will manifest those negative outcomes in your life. So remember that thoughts are things. They are the first step in creating your reality. You have the power to shape your future by the thoughts you choose to entertain. The secret to creating the life you want is simple. Think about what you want with clarity, focus, and passion, and then take the necessary action to make it happen. Your thoughts are not just fleeting ideas. They are the building blocks of your future. Your mind is one of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal, and understanding its nature is essential if you want to achieve success, happiness, or anything that truly matters in life. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a garden. This garden can either be meticulously cultivated to produce a beautiful, fruitful harvest, or it can be left to grow wild, full of weeds and clutter, producing nothing of value. The quality of your thoughts is like the soil of this garden, and it is up to you whether you cultivate it into something that will bear fruit, or let it become a chaotic mess that produces only negative results. This concept that your mind is like a garden is not just a metaphor. It's a truth that can be applied in your daily life. The thoughts you allow to grow in your mind are like the seeds you plant in that garden. Each thought is a seed that, if nurtured and given the right attention, will grow into something much larger than the initial thought. Just as a small seed can grow into a towering tree, so too can thought and nurtured, become the foundation for incredible success and meaningful change. However, just as a garden is subject to the growth of weeds, so too can negative self-defeating thoughts take root in your mind and prevent you from reaching your full potential. When you plant a seed, it requires attention, care, and nourishment to grow into a strong, healthy plant. Similarly, when you focus on positive thoughts, you must actively nurture them with positive actions, persistence, and consistent effort. You can't expect a seed to grow without proper care, and you can't expect your dreams or goals to materialize without the necessary effort to bring them to life. Positive thoughts require reinforcement, both mentally and physically, in order to bear fruit. This means that your thoughts alone are not enough. You need to back them up with actions. If you think about something but never take action toward it, the thought is like a seed that has been planted in dry, infertile soil. It may sprout for a moment, but without proper care, it won't survive. At the same time, the weeds in a garden don't require much attention to grow. They can spring up quickly without any effort on your part and take over the garden if left unchecked. Negative thoughts work the same way. If you allow negativity, doubt, fear, or insecurity to take root in your mind, these thoughts will begin to crowd out the positive thoughts that could bring about change in your life. Just as weeds can choke the life out of a healthy plant, negative thoughts can suffocate the dreams and aspirations you're trying to grow. If you don't regularly tend to your mental garden, if you don't actively remove the weeds of self-doubt and negativity, they will take over and prevent you from achieving anything of value. This idea of cultivating your mind is central to personal growth and success. Just like a gardener needs to pull out weeds regularly to ensure a healthy crop, you must regularly clear your mind of negative thoughts, fears, and doubts. It's not enough to simply hope that the weeds will disappear on their own. You must be vigilant and intentional in your efforts to cultivate positivity, confidence, and optimism. Negative thoughts can sneak up on you, often without warning. And if you allow them to fester, they can begin to control your mindset and actions. This is why it's so important to monitor your thoughts and guard your mind against the seeds of negativity. In a garden, there are also seasons of growth and seasons of dormancy. Some plants need time to grow, to be nourished and tended to before they fully bloom. Similarly, your goals and dreams won't come to fruition overnight. There will be times when you feel like you're not making progress, when it seems like your efforts aren't paying off. This is normal, just as every garden experiences seasons of dormancy. However, just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean your efforts are in vain. A garden doesn't bloom all at once. It requires patience, persistence, and continuous care. Likewise, the thoughts and actions you put into your life will, in time, produce results, even if you can't see them right away. One of the most important aspects of tending to your mental garden is the idea of consistency. You can't expect to plant a seed today and see the fruits of your labor tomorrow. In the same way, you can't expect to think positively for a week or a month, and then immediately see dramatic changes in your life. The process of nurturing your mind is ongoing. It requires patience and dedication, much like tending to a garden requires daily care. The more consistent you are in nurturing your thoughts and keeping out negativity, the more likely you are to see the harvest you're hoping for. This means that your journey towards success is built on consistent, small actions that compound over time. It's not the big, dramatic gestures that will create lasting change, but rather the small, consistent steps you take every day to cultivate positive thoughts and behaviors. In addition, just as a garden benefits from a variety of plants and a balance of nutrients, your mind needs a balance of different types of thoughts to thrive. Positive thoughts are important, but so are thoughts of challenge, growth, and self-reflection. It's not about ignoring the difficulties or the challenges in life. It's about approaching them with a mindset that fosters growth and learning. A healthy garden isn't just full of flowers. It also includes plants that enrich the soil, like nitrogen-fixing legumes, or plants that protect others from pests. Similarly, your mental garden needs to have room for challenges, setbacks, and difficulties. They're not weeds. They're part of the process that makes you stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for future success. Another key aspect of cultivating your mental garden is the influence of your environment. A garden can only grow in an environment that supports its needs. If you plant a tropical plant in a desert climate, it will wither and die. In the same way, the environment in which you place your mind plays a huge role in the types of thoughts that flourish. If you surround yourself with negative influences, whether they are people, media, or situations, you are essentially planting your garden in poor soil. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with positive influences, people who uplift you, environments that inspire you, and experiences that nurture your growth, you're creating an ideal environment for your thoughts to thrive. The soil of your mental garden is your environment, and you must ensure that it's conducive to the kind of growth you want to see in your life. This is why it's crucial to take a proactive role in shaping your environment, in curating the people and experiences that will nourish your mind. Experiences that will nourish your mind. The people you spend time with can either help cultivate your dreams or drown them in negativity. The media you consume can either inspire you or distract you. The way you spend your time and energy each day can either help you grow or pull you further away from your goals. Just like a garden needs sunlight, water, and proper care, your mind needs positive influences, nurturing experiences, and a supportive environment to truly flourish. As you begin to see the power of this mental gardening, you'll realize that cultivating your mind is not a one-time task. It's a lifelong commitment. Just as a garden requires attention and care year-round, so does your mind. There will be times when things grow smoothly and times when you need to fight off weeds or contend with challenges. But if you stay consistent, if you keep tending to your garden with patience, love, and effort, the rewards will come. The beauty of this process is that you are the gardener of your own mind. You have the power to decide what you plant, what you nurture, and what you uproot. Your thoughts are the seeds and your mind is the soil. When you take full responsibility for what you plant in your mind, you can cultivate a life of abundance, success, and fulfillment. So take care of your mental garden. Be mindful of the thoughts you allow to take root. Remove the weeds of negativity, and nurture the seeds of positivity, ambition, and growth. Your future will bloom as a result of the care and attention you give to your mental garden today. The idea that you become what you think about most is both empowering and intimidating. It holds an undeniable truth that shapes the reality of every individual. If you truly grasp the depth of this concept, you begin to realize that your life is a direct reflection of your thoughts. Your habits, actions, and outcomes are all sculpted by the nature of the thoughts you entertain on a daily basis. It's one of the most profound principles you can ever internalize because it grants you full control over your destiny. Your thoughts shape who you are, what you achieve, and ultimately, how you experience the world around you. We are, as the saying goes, creatures of habit, and our habits start with our thoughts. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly thinking. Your mind is a ceaseless engine of thoughts, and most of these thoughts are repetitions of the ones you've had before. They are often habitual, ingrained patterns shaped by your upbringing, environment, experiences, and past beliefs. The challenge is to become conscious of these thoughts and to be aware of how they affect your life. Because whether you are aware of it or not, your thoughts are constantly influencing your actions and shaping your circumstances. You might think you're just going through life reacting to things as they come, but in reality, your thoughts are laying the foundation for your future, whether you're actively thinking about it or not. One of the fundamental truths of this principle is that the thoughts you hold most often in your mind are the ones that ultimately define your behavior. Think about it. If you focus on your goals consistently, your actions will begin to align with those goals. You will naturally gravitate toward behaviors, habits, and decisions that move you closer to your aspiration. If your predominant thoughts are focused on health and fitness, your actions will likely involve eating healthier, exercising more, and making lifestyle choices that support a healthy body. If you spend your time dwelling on financial success, your decisions, actions, and energy will likely align with creating wealth. Whether it's through investing, entrepreneurship, or other financial endeavors. On the other hand, if your thoughts are dominated by fear, self-doubt, or insecurity, those very thoughts will lead you to behave in ways that reinforce those feelings. You might procrastinate, shy away from taking risks, or even avoid opportunities